What's your favorite game and why? It's a simple question and one that I'm always interested in hearing the answer to, but there always seems to be two types of answers. The first, and more common, is that their favorite game is their favorite because of the mechanics within it. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is one I've heard in the past for having tight controls and a playstyle that suits anyone, from passive to aggressive players. But the other answer I hear is that people's favorite games have a story that they really enjoy. The Legend of Zelda, Journey, God of War, Final Fantasy. When we watch a movie or read a book, we typically continue on with them because of the stories they tell. I mean, you can't really watch them any differently. In reviews of nearly everything, the main element that's being focused on is the story. A game can have a unique art style or cool gimmick, but if the story is lacking, people won't want to play it. At least, that's what I thought at first. Looking at recent games that have come out in the past couple of years, it's clear that there are story games still out there for those who enjoy them. But a lot now have a balance between a unique story and an interesting playstyle. Now when we play games though, our focus seems to be more on the controls themselves. I mean, let's take a look at New Horizons. It has a simple story. You purchased a getaway package from Tom Nook, mistake number one, and customized the island to your liking. You pull some weeds, place some decorations, and once your island has reached 5 stars in its rating, KK Slider will show up, play a song, and the credits roll. Of course, that doesn't mean you have to stop playing. I mean, this game came out during a global pandemic, so what else were we gonna do, not decorate it? You can keep decorating the island, invite new villagers, and see what they're up to every single day, which most of the time isn't much. There is a story here, but it's not the main focus. If anything, it's just there to allow the game to have a sense of purpose for being there, when really, we all got the game because we wanted the giant Godzilla statue.
But that's Animal Crossing.
I hear you saying in the comments.
There's other games out there that have more complex, mature stories.
And I'm not disagreeing with you. So why don't we take a quick look at the second most popular game out there, Grand Theft Auto 5. A game that was known for pushing limits when it first released and having a complex story. So there's 3 criminals you can play as, Michael, Trevor, and Brad. They each have their own motivations and goals throughout the game, but their main goal is to get rich quick right at the start. You do a ton of different heists, and at the beginning, Get in. Yes, I got the jet! As you can see, this isn't the main focus of the game either. There's been debates over whether the game's story was ever good to begin with, but people just aren't playing it. No. They shot me down. Instead, people play the game more like a sandbox game. There's the online servers and different challenges you can play throughout the city, and for the most part, that's what everyone does. So what, does that mean stories aren't important to games at all? Well, not exactly. 2 games that stand out for having a great story overall, I think everyone can agree on this, are The Last of Us and The Walking Dead from Telltale. Both ironically having zombies in them, that wasn't intentional. These games focus on character development and its story. The Last of Us story is usually what's talked about more than the control the player has over it while they play. I mean, you're shooting a gun and walking around, but other than that, there isn't much you do. And that's because that's not where the focus was. The game focused on its story and it shows. Meanwhile, the Walking Dead game has nearly no controls outside of walking around and making decisions. There's small moments where you're allowed to shoot a zombie, but not at the level of something like Red Dead Redemption. There are plenty of story-focused games out there available for anyone who enjoys them, but what about where the story plays a major role in the game? Recently, I finished Superhot Mind Control Delete, the 3rd entry in the Superhot franchise. The premise in this game is that time only moves when you move, but you have to defeat the red enemies coming after you in each level. It's a simple premise and one that's pretty much the same in all of the Superhot games. But in this one, the game asks you to stop playing it. Like a lot. Throughout the entire game, it asks you to stop, makes the game harder, glitches out, and makes it impossible to beat in the final level. By the end of the game, which has taken me hours to get to, I was hooked. I mean, I can't lie, it was really good. What am I gonna do, not play the game? No, I wanted to know what the ending was. I felt addicted to the game and ready to learn more about it. By the end of the game, the system deletes itself entirely, saying that there isn't anything else to do. But after exploring around a little bit, there's this small button that you can push that will bring the entire game back. Haha, very funny. Like it's gonna make me wait. What? Hey, it's me. So, when the game rebooted, it just brought him back to the main game. No credits or anything. So essentially he waited 2 hours for nothing. He's a bit upset at the moment. I'll go check on him. Hey, you doing okay? Feel like you can finish the video? Yeah, I'm fine. So after 2 hours of waiting, you get nothing? To those out there who waited 8 hours for the exact same ending, you deserve a medal. I don't know what to give you. This was awful and not how you send the message of your game. The moral of this game is that the player is asking too much from it and that they should go do something else. I get that. But when you get this far in the game and just want to reach the ending, why pad it out for this long? That is not how you tell a story. Which stinks because the rest of the game was completely fun. It was fun to run around these levels, and it was interesting to figure out how to defeat the different little red guys here and there. And even in the other games, they had a fine story. They were interesting, and they got their story, and they told it, and they left. What happened? What happened here? Regardless of what game you play, whether it's short and simple or complex with good controls, your story needs to work. Otherwise, it can leave a bad taste in people's mouths. Personally, I love games that have a deep story to them or challenge me to think in new ways. I didn't play God of War for the controls. I wanted to learn more about the world and the people in it. That's where I get my enjoyment from. And for games that don't focus on story necessarily, I still find it interesting to see what it's trying to tell. And I'm not trying to say that games that don't have a story are bad in any way. Far from it. But if your game has a story, make it interesting, let it be heard. The story is important in every single game, even if it may not seem it. If you're the type of person who enjoys playing games for the controls but don't really care for the story, I'd recommend some games out there with an almost hidden story, just to get a sense of how important they are to games. Certain games I'd say to start out with would be Inside, Hollow Knight, Splatoon, or any of the other games I've talked about in this video. Most games have a story they're trying to tell, and it's important we take the time to hear them. Now, that's just what I think about stories in games, but what about you? How important do you think stories are for games in general? Let me know in the comments. Anyway guys, thank you for watching this video, and remember to chase the chaos.